This meeting is now called to order Monday, August 9th, 2021. Councilmember Hablitz, will you please lead this governing body in the flag? Thank you. You may be seated. Mrs. Kraus, please read the statement of public notice.
Take notice that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with NJSA 10:4-10 as follows. Notice of the meeting was prominently posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building located at 225 Main Street, Little Falls, New Jersey on July 22nd, 2021. A copy of the notice was faxed to the North Jersey Herald and News and the Record on the same date. Additionally, a copy of the notice was filed in the office of the township clerk on said date. This meeting is being conducted under the circumstances surrounding the COVID-19 health situation. Only 25 members of the public will be allowed to attend the meeting in person. A link and a telephone number to join the meeting virtually can be accessed on the township website at www.lfnj.com. Electronic provisions have been established for the public to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting.
Mrs. Kraus, at this time, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hablitz.
Present.
Councilmember Kawadi.
Present.
Councilmember Sieber.
Present.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Present.
Council President Scoba.
Present. Mayor Damiano.
Thank you, Council President. This evening, we have 3 proclamations to read. The first for National Night Out, which was hosted this year by the Township on August 3rd, last week. It's an outstanding event. We had a great showing, the police department, fire department, all of our public servants, our DPW department. It was a great night, great community event. It was nice to see everybody out and around again. And in recognition of National Night Out, I have a proclamation to read. And it reads, whereas National Night Out is a time where law enforcement and neighbors come together to promote a sense of community. And whereas National Night Out celebrates and promotes a positive police-community partnership. And whereas it strengthens the community bond between police and the community. And whereas National Night Out brings awareness to police programs within the community. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor James Belford Damiano, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby proclaim August 3rd, 2021 as National Night Out in the Township of Little Falls. We have a second proclamation now to read, and it's a proclamation recognizing Senior Citizens Day. And it reads, whereas Senior Citizens Day is a time to show our seniors appreciations for the dedication, accomplishments, and services throughout their lives. And whereas their wealth of knowledge and experience offers so much to our community and to generations to come. And whereas our seniors deserve the respect and dignity they have earned throughout their lifetime. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor James Belford Damiano, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby proclaim August 21st, 2021 as Senior Citizen Day in the Township of Little Falls. And finally, the third proclamation we have this evening is a proclamation recognizing Women's Equality Day. And it reads, whereas Women's Equality Day is celebrated every August, reminding us of all of the hurdles overcome by women. And whereas it is a time to commemorate the day women were given the right to vote. And whereas Women's Equality Day is also a time to remember the efforts towards other women's rights issues, such as bridging the wage gap between men and women. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor James Belford Damiano, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby proclaim August 26, 2021 as Women's Equality Day in the Township of Little Falls. And that's all that I have for proclamations this evening, Council President. And when it comes time for my reports, I'll provide them.
Thank you, Mayor, for those proclamations. Can I have a motion and to open up for general matters and agenda action items that will be taken as well, so we give the public an opportunity to partake in those action items that we'll be voting on tonight?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vanchery.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hablitz. All those in favor of opening to the public signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to this motion signify by saying nay. Before I ask Mrs. Kraus to read the statement, we did consult Council Wenzel and also Mrs. Kraus, our clerk. We will ask the public to say their address, but only you'll have to say it once. You will not have to say it a second time when you get up. But the clerk, Mrs. Kraus, and the council did feel that it was important that the address be given to the public speakers. Mrs. Kraus.
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. Please give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Please give your name and address for the record. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. The floor is now open. Mr. Fernandez is waving his right to the public. I'm sorry, Mr.
Luis Fernandez, Harrison Street.
Just a number, sir, so we have for the record. Thank you.
He hasn't changed. That was one of the things that, well, tonight I'm going to talk about 3 things, and that's one of the things that I want to touch. The home address. I understand that it's a legality, and I also understand that is the thing to do. But also, you have to understand how the public feels safety-wise. And to me, the weirdest thing is that I feel that the public has to say their home address. However, you people, none of you people, we don't know your home address. What are you afraid that they're going to go and pick it in front of your house? Well, I am the same way. I'm afraid that one of these days, because I say something that may get somebody mad or whatever, somebody may go to my house and harm me physically. So we're both on the same boat. And that's why I brought it up. That was not
Before you proceed, does the council have any comments regarding the saying of the address for the residents?
I mean, especially when you
Mayor.
know that, in my case, I've been attending these meetings for 12
Yes,
years. You know that I'm a resident.
Yes, Council Member Sieber.
Thank you. I think in today's day and age, information is very public. Just simply Googling, anything like that. Anybody can find your information. Somebody can find my information. I don't see it as a hazard of stating your address here in public.
But Council,
Because-
why make it easier?
I don't believe so. And we can agree to disagree on that.
Council President,
Mayor.
simply to say that if you own a home, you have a deed recorded in the county, that's public information with your name on it somewhere. Sure, maybe saying it at a meeting like this makes it easier. If you're registered to vote in the United States of America, your address is public information. So to say that, this violates, or I will say this, I can
didn't say
appreciate.
violated any.
I will say this, I can appreciate the concern, undoubtedly, especially in today's age. But the advice of the council is that anyone who is addressing this governing body should provide their name and address for the record.
Mr. Fernandez, go ahead.
All right. Point number 2. I've asked you at the last meeting whatever happened to Chief Jack Sweezy. You told me that it was in litigation and you couldn't answer the question. Honestly, I find it hard to believe that a man that served this township for so many years, he went on vacation. When he got back, he was fired or let go, whatever. He was dismissed. A man that did all those years for free. He serviced this township for free as the fire chief. He also fought like hell, if you remember, most of you will remember, to get the paid EMS. He fought and battled quite a few people until he finally got the EMS in place. I just find it very hard to believe that he will quit in the middle of the night. He's not that type of guy, number one. I know you couldn't talk about this, and because according to you, it's in litigation. I just hope that once the litigation is finished and whatever, does the public have the right to know what happened to Jack Sweezy? After all, he serviced this town, and we are the town, the residents of the township. And And if there's any public or taxpayers' money, if he's got any taxpayers' money coming to him, any reparation or money distribution or whatever, shouldn't we entitled to know? After all, it's our tax dollars.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I was going to say Mayor Fernandez. Mr. Fernandez, as you know, I've said this before, this governing body cannot comment on personnel matters. We wish we could, but we cannot do that. And if council advises us that we can disclose some information in the future, we would gladly do that. I don't know if the mayor has anything else to add on that matter.
Other than to say, again, as you indicated, unfortunately, there is pending litigation, no real commentary can be provided. If he is owed any money for things such as time that he has accrued, and he is entitled to money, those types of funds may be paid. I don't know that a full accounting of that has been completed yet, but short of that, at this time, there's no other taxpayer monies that are being paid to him or provided to him.
Will the public, once after the litigation, will the public be entitled to know?
I would defer that to council. I'm not certain of the answer.
Okay.
Before we continue, does any council members have anything they would like to add? Councilmember Sieber?
In what I call my day job, I deal with a lot of human resource issues. And I'd just like to say that, as mentioned, that a lot of times these things are personal issues, and regardless of what happens, sometimes it's also best for some things not be said. I know personally, I would not want sometimes things to be put out in public or something like that. So I think you should also, have some respect that sometimes, regardless of sides or information that gets leaked or rumors, that sometimes things should be, at least respected on somebody's personal behalf.
And Councilwoman, I do have a lot of respect, especially for a gentleman that served for so many years for free.
Right.
Township.
And that's why I think sometimes too, if something can't be said, that's by personal respect and personal privacy.
Since I don't believe that he just, like I said, he just got up and left. He's not that type of quitter. I believe that there's something else that is being, hidden, is not being said or whatever. And I understand that you deal, like you said, with human resources, but that is a private entity. This is a public corporation or whatever you want to call it. This is the people's money, the taxpayers' money, the residents' money that is, if anything, is being spent. And I think as a resident, as a taxpayer, we are entitled to know. Okay. Shall I go to the next?
Yes, sir.
Also, point number 3. I'm sorry I couldn't watch the planning board meeting the other day. I understand it was a pure chaos. It was a disaster. From the little bit that I watched a couple of days later, I couldn't take it more than an hour or so. It was clear from the beginning that the result was, you knew what the result it was going to be before even they took a vote. And it shows clearly the gap between the governing body and the residents that they are supposed to represent. I think it was horrible. They didn't listen to the people, the comments, the suggestions, the data that they brought, the questions that were not being answered. I think it was a real disaster. If it was up to me, or if I were in your shoes, I will send everyone packing. I don't think they're doing the township any favor or any I don't think they're doing the right job. In fact, they're doing quite the opposite. I'm sure you have seen the comments on quite a few blogs, and they're not happy. People are not happy because, like I said, they're not being heard. Their concerns are not being satisfied. The questions are not being answered. They're not being represented by anybody. And it seems like we are fighting against the current. And when that happens, I think it's time to let some people go and put professionals that they know what they're talking about and they listen. You all go on election day, door to door, knocking on the doors. If you do this for me, if you vote me in, I'll do this for you. This is my campaign and whatever. However, it seems that when you are up there, you're not listening.
Mr. Fernandez, we get your point that you felt that that past planning board meeting was not done in a professional manner, or I quote your words, was disastrous. I have to tell you, Mr. Kilpatrick, the chairman, I have all the confidence in the world with him. The mayor has all the confidence in the world with him. And I think all these council members and his fellow board members. He ran a very challenging meeting in a very professional way. Those planning board meetings are very technical. It has a lot of technical information. Those planning board members spend a lot of time reading those plans. If you did listen, some of those planning board members, most of them, asked some very technical, difficult questions. Staff, Mr. Lemanowitz, who's off to my right here, commented on many different aspects of the building project. We also have a technical review committee that was reviewed by before it got even to the planning board, so that professionals could even review it. Yes, it was a long meeting, and that sometimes happens. The planning board meets once a month, and the chairman decided to see the meeting through. That was his prerogative. However, if you do feel that you have some opinions that you would like to explain your sentiment, you can do that at the next planning board meeting and make your voice heard.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you done?
Yes.
All right.
Does any council member like to comment? Yes, through the chair, Councilman Vanchery.
Yeah, I was just going to say too, if you don't mind elaborating, or even Mayor Damiano, I think too, there's a disconnect in terms of understanding the role of the planning board and what their responsibilities are, because, you know, I saw some comments on social media as well. And I think understanding, as Council President Scoba said, there's some technical aspects that are involved, but I think if there's a good way to explain to the residents sort of the role of the planning board and what they do. And I know Councilman Kawadi also served on the planning board at one point. I think it'd be a good way to explain for those listening, and, you know, Mr. Fernandez. So gentlemen, whoever wants to take that, I think it would be appropriate.
I'm also.
Councilman Kawadi, would you like to comment?
To explain the role of the planning board?
Yeah,
sure. For people who don't understand it, we have, and Mr. Kuchar, please feel free to correct me if I make a mistake. We have ordinances and we have zones in town, and occasionally, and it happens on a monthly basis, projects are proposed that are requesting permission to go outside of those zoning rules and ordinances. The entire existence of the planning board is to hear those concerns and decide whether or not they're valid. I listened to that meeting for 5.5 hours the other night. The questions that were related to the project had very little to do with the variances that were being requested. And I think that's why people may have felt like they weren't being heard, but the planning board is there to make a judgment based on what's being requested of them. And they did so. I didn't see the meeting as being disastrous because the process played itself out. If you happen to be on the side that didn't get what you wanted, I could understand your dissatisfaction with that. But the process played itself out. Sometimes it's going to play itself out in the way you would like, and sometimes it's going to play itself out in a way that you're not happy about. But it doesn't mean that the process didn't work.
It has nothing to do with the meeting being played out in the way that I wanted it or not. It has nothing to do with that. I'm all for, or I'm all in favor of the people, the taxpayers being represented, and they are entitled to an opinion, and I understand that. But when the opinion is not being listened to, when people that are up there don't care about the opinion of the people that we are down here, that's what's important. And I feel, and I'm not the only one, by the way, and I'm sure you saw the comments, and I'm sure you too, Mr. Vincenzi, you saw the comments. People are not happy because they are not being listened to. They're being turned down. And the job of any elected official is making sure that the people are being heard, that their opinion matters, which is not.
Mr. Fernandez, this governing body, you're welcome. This governing body did hear those residents. Over the weekend, I had a conversation with the mayor about density. So yes, we do listen, and we did hear it. And the mayor and myself sit on that board, as you know. So we're well aware of what the residents were talking about. However, no resident was denied an opportunity to speak. Yes, it went long, and that's unfortunate. Here in this council chambers, we've been fortunate to run some meetings that didn't go that long, but a planning board meeting on an application like that, Mr. Levanowitz can testify, is pretty complicated. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Levanowitz. I mean, you asked quite a few questions that evening. The technical side of that plan was a little challenging for to get through so that the public would understand it. But the board members were through. The board members read those plans and knew exactly what was going on. They were all well versed in the plans. They did their research and they asked the questions that they asked.
Okay, and I'm glad, Mr. Damiano, I'm glad that you're going to have a meeting to address those issues on the 17th, I believe, correct? Next Tuesday. I'm sure you're going to. I'm not the only one that is arguing or is complaining about those issues. I'm sure you're going to hear more on that, on those, on the 17th, on that topic, on the 17th.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Fernandez.
we look forward to that.
Thank you for joining us this evening, for coming out. Is there anyone that would like to speak to us via, I guess we call it Zoom? There's no one in the chat and there's no hand raised. So seeing that, I could have a motion to close for public comment.
So moved.
Moved by Council Member Kawadi, second by Council Member Vanchery. All those in favor of closing to the public signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Mayor Damiano, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Before I move on to the three items on the agenda, quick report and update on the fire department meeting that happened on August 4th last week. As I indicated at the prior council meeting, there was going to be a meeting with the fire department and the representatives from each company regarding the ordinance that is before this council for consideration. It was an extremely productive meeting. I think some of the concerns that were raised by the fire department they were valid, and I think once dialogue and discussion occurred over them, I think we've reached a consensus on essentially every single issue that there may very well be that they had with the ordinance as raised by all of the members. So I am hoping to have a new version of the ordinance recirculated to this council as well as to the entire fire department. And I'm hopeful that within, well, I'd say by the end of September, we will be able to, if needed, I don't believe it will be needed to reintroduce the ordinance. I believe all of the changes are somewhat minor. But if we do need to renotice, we could have it renoticed and we can have it before this council for a second reading by the end of September, at which time this council can give it the entire consideration that it deserves. So that was a very, very productive meeting, and I am pleased to report that everything seems well. As Mr. Fernandez just indicated, on August 17th, I will be hosting a town hall and I will be taking questions and answers. I'm happy to answer any and all questions that residents may have. There will be a focus of that town hall on development in town. So the Zoom link is on the township website. It's also been sent out in an email blast. If you're not already signed up for email blasts, I encourage you to do it. That information is in all of those. So with respect to the three items on the agenda this evening, the first is a resolution adopting the 2021 personnel policies and procedures manual. This is a live document, is I think the best way to say it. And every single year, there are some minor updates and it is presented to this council for adoption or a resolution adopting the updated manual. This year's most dramatic and drastic changes to the entire manual have to do with the legalization of cannabis and which employees are or are not permitted to use cannabis, whether on or off duty in their role as a municipal employee. So there is some information regarding that again being the most drastic change. It is a 385-ish page document. It is substantial. And I know it was provided to the council for review with all of the modifications. But again, for anyone in town who's wondering, that document is always available in the clerk's office if you're ever in the mood for a light reading. And it's also, it's also posted on the township website if you want to view it there as well. The second item, is there any questions with that, Council President?
Council members, everybody knows it. Go ahead, Mayor. Item number B.
Great. Item number 2 is the resolution authorizing the placement of do not block the box signage and street markings at various locations throughout town. Ironically, this was a concern that was raised just last Thursday at the planning board meeting, having to do with the difficulty in some sections of Main Street to make a left turn when crossing through an intersection due to vehicles being stacked due to a red light or a backup in traffic, and usually due to a red light, but sometimes due to some traffic in the area, which causes a greater backup. And so do not block the box, by way of brief background, is a state statute that prohibits intersections from being blocked by vehicles. So all we are doing here is really passing a resolution to authorize the placement of, I think there's 6 or 7 that are being proposed that we will add do not block the box signage, as well as the markings on the road that indicate essentially don't stop here and park here while you're waiting for traffic to move. So we will be proposing that we move forward with a resolution authorizing the placement of do not block the box. I think this will help facilitate a smoother traffic flow throughout the entire municipality.
Council members have any questions, comments, or do not block the box?
I just want to add, Council President, if you don't
Vanchery.
mind, just want to say thank you to State County, Chuck Silverstein, helping us with the guidance, pulling this together, and of course, Chief Post and the Little Falls Police Department, identifying the streets where blocking the box has become a challenge. And, and also DPW Director Ron Campbell, just pulling some next steps together to get this in place so that we can have the appropriate signage as well as the boxes painted on the road. So just want to say thank you for all the help behind the scenes to make this happen, because it's something that we brought up a few months ago. There were some concerns, especially on Montclair and Maine, where sometimes that backs up and it's hard to make a left onto Montclair or make a left out of Montclair onto Maine. So just appreciate that this is coming together, and just want to say thank you for all the help behind the scenes.
And just for clarity, there's actually 9 intersections where do not block the box will be is being proposed, and they are Jacobus Avenue and Long Hill Road, Browertown Road and East Main Street, Hobson Ave, Cedar Grove Road and East Main Street intersection, Arlington in Maine, Montclair Ave in Maine, Union Ave in Maine, Center Ave in Maine, Arlington Street in Maine, and Van Pelt Place and Maine. So those are the intersections where they are being proposed. Of course, like many things here in the township and many of the ordinances or resolutions that the Township Council passes, this will also continue to be a living document, in the sense that if we do find in the future that there's another intersection that may require to be added to this, we can just pass an additional resolution to add a new intersection.
Item C, Mayor.
Yes, third item this evening is the resolution authorizing a concession for acquisition and construction of scoreboards at the Little Falls Sports and Recreation Complex. As almost everyone knows, the Sports and Recreation Complex has seen a major facelift and improvement over the past year and a half. And with that, one of the remaining items to be improved is the scoreboards, both inside and outside of the Sports and Recreation Complex. And what we are doing, because there is a way that the township can generate some funds while covering the cost of all of the scoreboards in town, what we are looking to do is authorize a concession for the acquisition of them, which means we can essentially open them up so that people can donate to the municipality to pay for the installation of these scoreboards at the Little Falls Sports and Recreation Complex. So I'm happy to report that with the passing of this resolution, we will be able to open the concession and ask for there to be contributions made for advertisements that will pay and offset the cost of these scoreboards.
Does the council members have any questions on our plan to get the new scoreboards at the field? Thank you, Mayor. At this time, can I have a motion to approve the raffle application for Passaic Valley?
So moved.
Moved by Council Member Quaddy, second by Council Member Vanchery. Mrs. Kraus, call the roll for the Passaic Valley Football Parents Association raffle.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Kawadi,
Yes.
Councilmember Seaver,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery,
Yes.
Council President Scoba.
Yes, Mrs. Kraus, at this time, read ordinance 1420. I'm sorry?
You missed consent agenda.
Yeah,
Uh,
right above.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Can I have a motion to approve resolutions A through D?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vanchery, second by Councilmember Hablitz. All those in favor of moving the consent agenda from A through D, Mrs. Kraus, call the roll.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Kawadi,
Yes.
Councilmember Seaver,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery,
Yes.
Council President Scoba.
Yes, I apologize for that. Now let's move to read ordinance 1420, Mrs. Kraus.
Second reading and public hearing of ordinance number 1420, an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, to establish Chapter 33, Cannabis Regulation of the Code of the Township of Little Falls.
Thank you. I wish somebody could make fogless glasses with the mask. So can I have a motion to open to the public hearing on 1420, please?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vanchery,
Second.
second by Councilmember Kawadi. All those in favor of opening to the public on 1420 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
those opposed signify by saying nay. This motion carries. The floor is now open for 1420. Is there anyone in the chat that would like to speak? No one in council chambers would like to speak? Have a motion to close to the public hearing on ordinance 1420.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Hablitz.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Vanchery. All those in favor of closing to the public for 1420 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. This motion carries. Have a motion to adopt ordinance 1420.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Kawadi.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Vanchery. Mrs. Kraus, is that a roll call? Yes, Mrs. Kraus, call the roll.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Kawadi,
Yes.
Councilmember Seaver,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery,
Yes.
Council President Scoba.
Yes. Mrs. Kraus, at this time, can you please read ordinance 1420?
2121.
I'm sorry, 1421.
Second reading and public hearing of ordinance number 1421, an ordinance entitled Ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code, Chapter 182, Retail Food Establishments and Vending Machines.
Can I have a motion to open to the public hearing on 1421?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vanchery,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hablitz. All those in favor open to the public hearing on 1421 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to that motion signify by saying nay. This motion carries. The floor is open for 1421. Is there anyone in our chat that would like to speak or on Zoom? No one in council chambers. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing on 1421?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Kawadi,
Second.
second by Councilmember Vanchery. All those in favor of closing on 1421 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to the motion signify by saying nay. This motion carries. Have a motion to adopt ordinance 1421.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vanchery,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hablitz. Mrs. Kraus, call the roll to adopt 1421.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Kawadi,
Yes.
Councilmember Seaver,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery,
Yes.
Council President Scoba.
Yes, Councilmember Vanchery, the floor is yours.
Sure. Thanks, Council President. I have a bunch of items I want to go through, but first I want to start off with echoing what the mayor said earlier for last week's National Night Out. Just want to thank all those involved. It was a great night to bring everybody together and to see the police department as well as fire, interacting with the residents as well as the kids is always a nice thing. So kudos to Corporal Vanek and the team for pulling that together. I also do want to give some kudos to John Pace and Tyler Passero from the rec department for finishing up this year's summer camp. It was a great experience for all the kids. I can vouch for one of them. Of course, my daughter was there and she loved it. And just want to say thank you for the work that was done by the rec department and all the counselors this year. The kids had fun and they really did make it worth their while for the kids. So thank you again for that. I have some updates related to some work I've been doing from a transportation committee standpoint. Last week, I had a chance to meet with the engineers over at H2M to discuss the speed humps. If you recall, we had some discussions last year with some residents at Van Pelt and Jacobus about installing speed humps on both of their streets. Obviously, in light of the pandemic, we had to put things off until this year. So I had a chance to discuss the next steps with the engineers. And our goal is to meet with them next week on Tuesday, August 24th. We're going to go to Van Pelt first at 6:15 and then followed that by a meeting with the residents on Jacobus at 7:30. Mayor Damiano, I sent you the letters on Friday that would go out to the residents. So just let me know if those can go out this week with the DPW department delivering them. Just so everybody knows too, when we met with the residents last year and I had a chance to talk to some in Van Pelt over the weekend and early this morning, we're looking at probably 2 speed humps on Van Pelt, and with Jacobus, it's a little unique where we may have potentially 3. It's just a matter of discussions with the residents because how do I put this nice? half of the street wants it, half of the street doesn't want it. But as you go closer towards Long Hill Road on Jacobus, most of the residents would love to have speed humps. Whereas you go further down towards Morningside Circle, they do not want to have it. So what we did was this morning, I had a chance to meet with the engineers again, and as well as DPW Director Ron Campbell. We went through and mapped out potential locations on Jacobus, but almost having like a radius rather than just saying just this house only, so that when we have the conversations next week, we can identify which is the best one going forward. And what we're going to also do for the meeting next week is we will have some cones set up to kind of give people an example of what a speed hump would look like, the positioning as well as the signs. And we will have some visuals to hand out too, so that if there are any questions that come up, we're able to address that. So we're looking forward to moving ahead with that project. So hopefully, Mayor, like I said, those letters can go out this week and we can get some feedback. The other thing I did want to mention, I know we just talked about it a few minutes ago. Again, just kudos on just pulling this blocking the box together. I did have a chance to talk to Mayor Kazmark as well, just to get a sense, because Woodland Park does have some blocking the boxes, just to go over the parameters, because Chuck Silverstein from the county had sent through what we have to follow. So we're just going to probably take a look at what Woodland Park has to make sure we're following those guidelines. But I appreciate, someone sharing an example previously. Let's see, I want to go through next. I know with the traffic light, we're working through that. We're looking at the proposal right now based on what the engineers are doing for Francisco, Wilmore Road, and Cedar Grove Road. So hopefully, we'll have an update on that soon, and we can talk about what the timelines are going to be. I know there's still some work that needs to be done behind the scenes. A couple other things I just want to go through is you probably saw the notice that went out last week. Next month, we will be recognizing the 20th anniversary of 9/11. So we have plans to hold our annual ceremony on Saturday, September 11th at 11 a.m. at Wilmore Road Park. We're pulling together a program. I've been on the phone working behind the scenes with several participants, working on a few more guest speakers as well. But, hopefully everyone can come out as we recognize those lost, especially two of our own 20 years ago. Another thing that you're going to see in the coming weeks as well, I've been working behind the scenes with Passaic Valley Unico. We're looking to hold a flag raising on Monday, October 4th for Italian American Heritage Month. More details to follow, but that's on Monday night. We have a council meeting at 7. So we're looking at doing the flag raising around 6 p.m. outside and then coming into the meeting. Lastly, I just want to clarify some things. And I know we kind of mentioned a little briefly, Mr. Fernandez, as we talk about social media. And this is my opinion. So this is just me talking over here. And someone that's in public relations and, understands social media too. There's some good and some negative attributes. And I appreciate comments that come through because listen, at the end of the day, not everyone is going to agree with us. I always say, listen, we can part the ocean. Someone's going to complain the waves aren't high enough. That's just the reality. Not everyone's going to say, you guys are great. We love you. I appreciate comments. But what I do have a problem with is when people make accusations about each of us that are sitting up here, as well as the mayor who's just below to my left. When you start getting into calling us like we're taking money, look at the wallets, check this person out, see what they're getting, or dollar sign emojis all over the place, or someone posting 22 different dollar signs or accusing us of being on a take, I take offense to that, okay? This is something that we've all volunteered to do. We signed up and we wanted to help the community. We're not here to buy a house in the Hamptons and do all that stuff. We're not shady politicians as it's been put on social media. We're people that care, that live in this town. I may have not lived here 100 years. I've been here over 20, but I've been in this town my whole life because I have family that grew up here as well. And I care about it. I have 2 kids and a wife. When we got married, my wife and I, we were here and we wanted to stay here and we wanted to make the most of it for our kids. So I take offense when people come at us and say that we're crooked. I really do. And I will say this, if you have a problem, come to us. Don't go on Facebook. Don't put it on a blog. Don't put it on a page that says you love the memories or you're 3 towns over or this one or that one. Email me, cvancheri@lfnj.com. Call me, 973-865-5516. See me, 29 Hobson Ave, Mr. Fernandez. I had that in my notes as well. I'm at ShopRite 6 a.m. on Wednesdays and Saturdays. You can grab me early in the morning getting groceries. You'll see me on the field constantly coaching my kids, whether it's at the PV track or it's at the rec complex for baseball, for soccer, you name it. But please don't like make malice accusations on social media. Come to us. There's no ill will that will come your way if you question something. Like I said, I respect everyone's opinion. If someone doesn't like something, they come to us, we look into it. Mr. Fernandez, like you said, you've been coming to this meeting forever. And 99.9% of the time, you disagree with us. And that's perfectly fine because you're entitled to that opinion and we respect you. You're not hiding behind characters on social media. You're not using a phantom name on a blog because you're afraid of repercussions because you speak out. Really? There's none of that here. I just wish, we're trying to get things done and you may disagree, but we're looking into seeing what options are. And, as I heard two people complaining about, oh, he only does town halls, Mayor Damiano, when there's issues. No, the mayor always wants to do town halls. And yes, there was some feedback on social media, but that's the whole perfect forum is to come here and have those conversations. I wish there would be more people at the meeting. For those of you watching at home, there's one person in the crowd right now. It's Mr. Fernandez. There's probably, I don't know, Mr. Cuccia, how many people are on the chat. I don't see the screen, but there's one person here right now. 13, you said? 15. There's 15 people that are here on the screen, which I get, but like, if you have an issue, come here. This is the forum. This is the place twice a month where we're at. Not on I Love the Memories or the 3Town Facebook pages, because 9 out of 10 times, we're not seeing it. Sometimes we'll see it, or sometimes people will tell us about it. We're not always reading the blogs, but like, come here. This is where things get done. So I would appreciate, if you guys come to us, you can go to Council President Scoba, you can go to Councilman Quaddy, you can go to Councilwoman Havlich, you can go to Councilwoman Seaver, you can go to Mayor Damiano. We appreciate that feedback. But when you start making accusations to say we're corrupt and stuff, I have a problem with that. And if you don't like it, too bad. But I'm not going to stand here and let someone on Facebook call us names the way they are. So I just wanted to just kind of level set that because I feel like sometimes you have to say something. It's nice to sometimes be proactive and there's times to be reactive. But this was one of those things where I wanted to be both because I just felt like when I see my name being dragged and people coming up to me saying, what's this about you? I have a personal problem with that. And again, C. Vancherry at lfnj.com, 973-865-5516, 29 Hobson Ave. Write a blog about me telling everybody, don't call us out on, I don't care. But the bottom line is if you have questions or concerns, come to us. Don't try to embarrass us on social media, please. Thank you, Council President.
Well said, Councilman Vancherry. Councilmember Havlich, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. So first, I would like to thank the mayor and this council for all the proclamations that they do, that we do, especially today for National Women's Equality Day. It's hard to believe that just over 100 years ago, women were not allowed to vote. Never mind the thought of someone holding office as myself. So it wouldn't have even been possible at the time. So thank you for the recognition with all the proclamations that we do. It's really appreciated. I'd also like to thank the library this week. The library was out in the community all week. First, they were at National Night Out on August 3rd here at Town Hall, representing the library, getting to know the community, telling the community what's available at the library. So I'd like to thank them for that. And they also were at a story time on the lawn this weekend, Sunday at the farmer's market. Miss Linda had a story for the children. It was well attended and it was appreciated that the library staff gave up their Sunday to come to the farmer's market and do a story time. So thank you to everyone at the library. I want to remind everyone that the library has a lot of good virtual things still going on, as well as story times in the park. They have an infectious disease workshop that is going to be Tuesday, August 17th at 7 p.m. It is hosted by the county and you can register on the library website. And then I wanted to bring up that we are again hosting, I did say that we're going to be doing the townwide garage sale again. You can sign up on the rec center website through Community Pass, and also starting this Sunday at the farmer's market throughout the month of August from 9 to 11 a.m. We will be at the farmer's market with our iPads signing anyone up who needs help with Community Pass. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for that fine report, Councilmember Havlich. I know the farmer's market has that new vendor that makes pizzas.
Yes.
And I tried that pizza. I love pizza, and that do a wonderful job.
Thank you very much. They will be back periodically throughout the market.
Councilmember Quaddy, one of my favorite movies is coming up, Jaws.
Yes, I will get to that in a moment. as Councilman Vanchery mentioned, the PBA's night out was a terrific success, and I want to express my thanks to them for doing a great job. It's another one of the events in town that I notice every year getting better and better and better, and so that's our goal up here. And I think that alludes to the other point Councilman Vanchery was talking about, is that we're all up here just trying to make things better every year. Whether or not you agree with us or not is understandable. That will not always be the case, but we're doing our best. And we do listen to people when they're civil. I will tell you that I tend to tune out somebody when they become uncivil with me, because if you can't be respectful in this forum, then I sort of discount the weight of what you're saying. And so when people are civil with me, I hear them loud and clear. And I have always done the same in return. With that said, another PBA event is part of my next comment. The mayor and I were walking down the street at the street fair on July 4th, and we were approached by a resident named Tom DeSalvo. And Tom has been volunteering with a man named Brian Schwartz, who started a group called I Want to Mow Your Lawn. And what he started doing, he's a Wayne resident. He started mowing lawns for people, veterans, people with cancer, people with disabilities, and senior citizens who were unable to mow their lawns and unable to afford to have someone do it. And he started doing it for them for free and collecting volunteers, for lack of a better word, collecting volunteers to do the same. Right now, he has clients ranging from Ultapan down to Rahway. He's got a very wide area. There are 500 names on his list currently, and I think he said he has about 30 or 40 volunteers, and he needs more. He needs more volunteers. So Mr. DeSalvo approached the mayor. I heard the conversation. The mayor said to me, you know, do you want to get involved in this? And I unequivocally, absolutely said yes. And so I met with them. They're extraordinary individuals. Mr. DeSalvo is currently mowing 15 or 16 lawns a month himself. He's a retired individual. And Mr. Schwartz is trying to figure out how to keep this going, because let's face it, the lawn keeps growing, right? This is not a one-time volunteer opportunity. And so we discussed ideas for how he may be able to keep his program going. We discussed ideas of how he may be able to find some new volunteers and even new, what we're calling clients, people who benefit from his service. And so I'm thrilled to be involved with these two gentlemen and try and make this program grow. He did come to our last movie night, and I announced him, and a resident stepped up and wanted to volunteer, at least to do one lawn a month, but maybe more, and we'll see. And so we're looking for others. I believe I've spoken to Councilwoman Havlitz and Sieber about the possibility of him setting up a table at a future farmer's market. So that will happen when Mr. Schwartz is available. But this is a great program. And so I just want to plant the seed to anybody who's listening. If you think that you might be able to help out, especially, you can contact me and I'll give you all the information just the way Councilman Vanchery did. I'm A. Kawati, that's A-K-A-H-W-A-T-Y at lfnj.com. I live at 45 Morningside Circle, and my phone number is 973-768-6775. And I will be happy to try and put you in touch with Mr. Schwartz. I could have easily given you his address, but I would love to know how many residents are getting involved with this because I take great pride in the fact that they're going to do so. I would love to see the Little Falls community rally behind this cause, but it is a serious commitment. And if there are any landscapers out there that want to take on some lawns, please reach out to me as well, and we will make that happen. Moving on, the domestic violence vigil will be on October 13th. This is a great group of people. They've been going to the farmers market to attend, just to raise awareness, let people know that you are not alone. And there are, if you go around town, in some of the restrooms in town, there are flyers where you can rip off hotline phone numbers. And I mention that because as we patronize some of these businesses, some of the women in the group actually have been telling me that they're seeing the tabs missing. And so this issue is out there. I don't think it's any worse in Little Falls than it is anywhere else, but it is out there. And if people need help, they should seek help, and we will help you do that. We will be at the Fall Festival coming up, and which is October 10th, and our vigil is on October 13th. And movie nights are going very well. The success has been just so great. People are coming out. We've moved it to the Sports and Recreation Complex this year, so people have access to the shack. They have access to the restrooms. So far, we had Christmas in July and showed Elf. We had Halloween in August and showed Beetlejuice. And this week, we are showing our only grown-up film of the entire program. We will be showing Jaws. If your children are too young, let them sit this one out, but please come out, have a grown-up night out. If there was a lake in town, I would have this movie at the lake in inner tubes like they do in a lot of places. But Jaws was our most requested movie. Councilwoman Hablitz can tell you she's a huge part of doing this. And so I know I'm very proud of it. I'm sure she is as well. The program has been a great success. The following week is Officer Vanek's birthday on the night before the film. And so we let him pick it. He chose Zootopia. And then we're going to finish out on August 25th with Star Wars. And so we hope everybody can come out. Hope the adults are there Wednesday night. The weather looks like it's going to be okay. And just come on, get out of your homes and enjoy what we're offering to you. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Quaddy, for your in-depth report this evening. Councilmember Sieber, I guess our 5K run is coming up.
It is. So first, I'd like to start off with also mentioning about the proclamations today. It was funny listening to Councilwoman Hablitz. I think she took the words out of my mouth, that over 100 years, if that didn't happen, we would not be sitting up here today, and couldn't be prouder to share this seat with everybody on the dais. So, getting the right to vote, closing that wage gap, breaking the glass ceiling. I know that's something that I personally try very hard to do, and also try to show for my daughters that they're going to be able to do that too. And something else is also just even going to the farmer's market. If you actually go and shop at our farmer's market, probably at least half, if not more, of our businesses are actually women owned. And so it's something great to see that we have a lot of women entrepreneurs that go and actually exhibit at our farmers market. And then just mentioning off of Councilman Vancheri's comments regarding social media, thank you for your statements. I appreciate those because I do agree with you very much. I've been a resident in this town for over 30 years. And I really watched the town not go in a direction that I thought was great, and really wanted to make a difference. And I remember the first time I got a flyer in the mail for the concerts in the park by the ABC, the Little Falls ABC, and I was so excited. I thought it was the coolest thing, and went for years and years, well before I was ever involved with the town. And watching people take great pride in the things that we do. We have turf fields now. We have the movies in the park. We have the 5K run, garage sales, the green fair, the farmers market. This is all basically done with mostly our free time, and we all have full-time jobs. And so we are here for the love of the town, and not for our own personal interests, but for the interests of everybody who lives here and our residents. And in fact, we also are here for residents of other towns, because the programs that we put together and the time we spend is not just for Little Falls. We welcome everybody to partake in these events. And that's something that should be noted. And so we welcome everybody. So again, thank you for those comments. So moving on to the run. So we did set the date for October 3rd for our second Run Little Falls 5K. It will be October 3rd. Should be our third, but our third run, unfortunately, we did have to cancel due to COVID last year. You can sign up at runsignup.com. We are also looking for business sponsors at this time. So if you are a business or a business, please reach out. We love to We definitely need some help with business sponsorship. And then also, I mentioned the market and the green fair. We are having the green fair at the farmers market September 12th. So please just make a note of that date. And that is all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Councilman Receiver, for that report. And Mayor, yes, thank you for reading your proclamations. It wasn't that long ago in the 1970s, if you were a female, you were not allowed to have a credit card or get a credit card. I kind of recall this because my mom thought it would be a good idea to have a credit card in her name. And the company, she was denied only a male. They wanted to take a risk only on a male. We were not able to get a credit card in the 1970s as a female. And thank you for the proclamations on the seniors. My senior group will be very happy to know that you recognize that. Coming this August 14th from 12 to 3 at the Signac American Legion, we are having our senior barbecue. For those seniors who'd like to attend, please reach out to Tyler or Nadine to tell them that you'd like to come. The food is going to be served and cooked by the local Boy Scouts. So we're looking to have a really good time come this Saturday and get out and see the seniors. We did have a resident at the last meeting, if I recall, asking about Long Hill Road and Woods Road, which is kind of a challenging area as you walk there. It's a county road. I looked up my old notes and I talked to former Mayor Lindsay, H2M. There wasn't too much he could come up with, but I'm going to pass this on to Councilman Vancheri. His one idea was to put up warning lights in that area, which was kind of intrusive. I felt would be that was somewhat of an overkill. But we'll continue to look at that and see if something can be done. It is a little bit of a challenge area in our town, but however, we don't want to make it look like an overbearing with blinking lights 24 hours a day. So, Mayor, do you have anything else you'd like to add to this meeting this evening?
That's all this evening, Council President.
Can I have a motion to open for the open to the public for agenda items?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vancheri.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Fuadi. All those in favor, open to the public for agenda items signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Mrs. Kraus, please read the statement.
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. Please give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Please give your name and address for the record. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
The floor is now open. Mr. Kush, is there anyone in our chat? Mr. Fernandez, would you have anything you would like to say?
You can email us.
Okay. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. The floor, we'll entertain it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Luis Fernandez, Harrison.
Yeah, you don't have to say the address the second time. So.
In response to one of your comments, I like to, I don't know if it was a curveball directed to me or whatever, but in anything that I post, and the mayor can tell you, I put my email address and my name. I do not hide from anybody.
Oh, I know. Nope.
I left my country. I left my loved ones 40-something years ago because I wanted the freedom. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, I left. So I'm not gonna, that was a cowardly thing to do. And I left them because I couldn't, I left my country because I couldn't speak my mind. I will never do it again. So that's all I have to say. And another thing, if I may, a couple of months ago, I know we had this meeting about Hemlock Road. I think it was Hemlock Road. What happened to that? Is it paved? Is it not being paved? Are we still in limbo? Are we waiting for something? Or?
The comments were considered, and it is being redesigned, taking into consideration a lot of the comments that were received from the residents in the neighborhood.
All right, so it's still up for grabs. It's still considering what is going to be done.
The current redesign is incorporating what will be a dead-end cul-de-sac style street at the end, which will be accessible from Overlook, which will prevent any cut-through traffic, which seemed to be the most legitimate and only real concern. It seemed nobody was really opposed to the road being paved for the residents that live there. Seems the opposition was more so surrounding it becoming a possible cut-through.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. See no other members would like to come forward. Have a motion to close the public comment.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Cherry,
Second.
second by Councilmember Quaddy. All those in favor of closing the public comment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Want to thank the staff and for those who attended our meeting. Can I have a motion to close this meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Quaddy, second by Councilmember Vanchery. All those in favor of closing this meeting signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed signify by saying nay. This meeting is now closed.